going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Just hanging in there. I've seen better days. I messed up my neck uh last Tuesday, and it just is like I can't even turn past like here without pain.
Pinched nerve? What is it?
I don't know. Yeah, it was I don't know. I was working out pretty hard the day before, and I woke up really sore, and then I had a call. And I was on a call, and like I went to like look at my monitor, and I just like boom, like I just felt this sharp pain. And so it's just going up all the way up my neck and my right trap. And then I went and I got a massage yesterday because I thought that would help. And it did temporarily, right? Like it felt like more mobile walking out. But man, like 4 hours after and I was in bed, it was just crazy, like so hard to sleep, got the worst sleep. And anyway, and tomorrow I'm doing acupuncture to try and help it out. But it sucks
Yeah,
because I'm kind of going crazy. I can't like work out or anything, you know?
yeah, dude. You're getting old.
I
This is
know, dude.
what
It's
life's like. Here you go, man. This is my recommendation. I got it right here.
what do you got?
Tiger Balm.
Oh, I have some. I've been using it a lot.
Yeah,
Lather.
it's the only thing I use liberally.
Yeah. I started a peptide cycle actually because I wanted to fix my knee. So I ordered a bunch of peptides like BPC 157 and some other ones that help with like, you know, regrowth and things like that. And good timing because I'm dealing with this now too. So I got it for my knee, but now I need it for this. And so I've been doing that for a couple days. So hopefully that starts to help.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I've been there.
You ever go down the peptide rabbit hole?
No, no, you're way more in the weeds on stuff like that. Yeah, I'm using I'm using Icy Hot and Tiger Balm, all the old guy stuff. Peptides,
Right.
that's probably like that's the new school.
Tried and true. Yeah, the peptides are basically just like amino acids, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so some of them are above board, like they have FDA approval, but I go through this website where it's for research purposes only, for like animal
Yeah.
studies. But it's really reputable. So I've been doing that. I've done it before and it's been helpful. Like when I threw my back out like 3 or 4 years ago, it was good for my recovery. So I'm just trying to do the same thing. And I don't know, man. I'm just throwing the kitchen sink at it. I hate being injured, but there's nothing like being injured and then having that give you appreciation for what healthy feels like.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, it's tough. I think acupuncture is probably a good idea. You need some blood flow into whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
it sounds like a pinched nerve, which yeah, those
I
can
think it might be. Yeah, I think it might be. I try
yeah.
and like hold off on the acupuncture. She's really great. It's always super effective, but like, man, it is not comfortable for me because she dry needles. So like goes in deep and
Yeah.
she'll go till she like finds the spot and she'll like wiggle it around.
Oh,
And
goodness, that's
I,
torture.
it's like a last ditch fix, but yeah, I'll do anything at this point. I'll do anything.
Yeah, inflammation, whatever it is probably inflamed a little.
Oh, yeah, just
Um,
do the podcast like this. It's
oh man,
like that
feel
meme.
bad for you.
It's like that South Park meme where the guy that's like
Yeah.
here. Anyway,
Painful.
let's talk about Bitcoin. What do you think?
Yeah, it's funny. The market's closed today because of Juneteenth, and there's like no price action, and it just shows me how much the market is playing in Bitcoin. I mean, it's such a huge driver that when the suits go home, nothing really happens. So, I mean, we've been at over 100K for over 30 days, 36 days, something like that. I don't know the exact number, but I think 100K Bitcoin is a standard. Unless there's some kind of, nuclear war or World War III breaks out. But I still think that if these are the sats that you can get at 100K, get them while you can.
Yeah.
The indications appear that we're going up this year and maybe even this summer, maybe in the 120s here pretty soon. And some reputable people have said 180s, 250 by the end of the year. So I'm kind of holding on to those as my targets, not for trading, just for buying.
Right.
Anything I can get around the low hundreds, I think is a good buy.
Yeah, I think it's always really important to listen to the psychology, like what's going through your mind when we kind of hit these different zones. So like right now, it's boring. I mean, for me, 104K, 105K, even anything like around that range is like it feels like how it felt when it was like 20K, right?
Yeah.
For a while. And then you're like, all right, and then it kind of feels like how 50K was. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting. You get to these different levels and plateaus, and like it's all psychology. And
Yeah.
it's all just like so the fact that we're used to 100K and it's boring six-figure Bitcoin. I mean that tells you pretty much everything you need to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're just going to keep going up. I think we're,
I'm
we're
getting
in a different world now.
I've got this grounding mat under my desk and
Oh yeah.
it became unplugged. Yeah, it plugs right into the outlet to get it ground.
Dude, you've
I
got
know.
all the toys.
I know. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think at this point, I haven't really convinced anyone, to buy Bitcoin, except for one good buddy who's a cop, and he just told me a week ago that he finally hit his stacking target, which was point 0.1.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's trying to get 10 million sats, and it's been a 2-year journey for him. And,
Wow.
living on a relatively blue collar salary, he was able to do it. And it's just, you just keep going. And I think that's great. I've sort of given up on everybody else, and I'm just going to keep stacking as much as I'm able to. And I think, what do we got? 5 years, 2030, maybe 2028, and it's home sweet home. I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this because my accountants have been like, it sounds kind of fancy. My accountants, there's like two people on the email, but my CPAs, like I emailed them, I'm like, you need to help me find a way to lower my taxes, And they're like, well, you could contribute to your IRA. And
No.
I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm saying. So like I liquidated my 401k in 2020. I bought Bitcoin and paid the penalties, which sucked. Bought some shit coins as well, which I should not have done. I could have bought so much more Bitcoin. Um, and so I just out of principle, like I want to keep my money out of the system. And I'm like, what is the point of me saving a little bit on taxes right now if I'm not going to be able to touch it until I'm whatever, 65 years old anyway. But if I think Bitcoin's going to like a million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, then why would I not just put that money in Bitcoin on the side, eat the taxes and say, I'm not playing your game. That's my
That's exactly
mentality.
right.
But am I stupid? Sometimes
No.
I'm like, dude, is that dumb? Because I think about how they think of me, you know, which is not a good way to like, but it's just funny where they're like, okay, this guy is 36 years old, doesn't contribute anything to a 401k or an IRA. What is he doing? Right?
Dude, I think that is smart. And I don't care if anybody laughs at me. So what? I had a financial planner also, and I gave him the Bitcoin standard. And he likes Alden, but he wouldn't read the book and he wouldn't buy Bitcoin. And so at some point, I guess it was 2 years ago, all of the money that I had with him is, now with me. And I did the same thing, Bitcoin. So let's say you had 50 grand in an IRA or a 401k. You take the 10% tax penalty, you put it in cold storage Bitcoin, and you don't withdraw it for 35 years.
Right.
That money is going to be multiples of anything you could earn in the S&P or whatever investment. I mean, you're going to kill it. Like it's going to be ridiculously more valuable. So I think if you're looking for, you know, you need to have a longer time horizon. But I think, yes, take the rip the band-aid off now, and whatever you got, put it into Bitcoin. You know, I
Yeah.
just don't see how you can play the old fiat game and win. You're not going to be able to. The Fed is, we have to roll over 7 trillion in debt, I think this year, 10 trillion by next year. Where's that money going to come from? The Fed has already indicated that they've bought 50 billion in treasuries. So they're doing QE. They're not going to tell you about it. It's not going to be a headline, but your purchasing power is going to decline. Prices are going to go up. So there's no way that your investments are going to be able to keep up with the inflation outside of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I needed to hear that because sometimes it's easy to forget that, where you don't touch it, right? You're just like the way you laid it out was perfect. And it's so easy to kind of get caught back up in like this when you're looking at a huge tax bill to be like, oh man, it'd be nice if this was like 5K, 10K lower, And
Yeah.
but when you're playing the long game, which is what we do, then it just becomes so obvious. I mean, none of the people that retired right now that are younger, like Bitcoin OGs or whatever, uh, yeah, we're contributing on a monthly basis to a 401k or an IRA. That's not how they retired, right? And so like, and at the end of that, you know, you're probably not even breaking even with the rate of inflation, considering where we're at in this late stage fiat game.
Yeah, there's no way that you're beating inflation,
You're
even
just
if you.
losing money at a lesser rate.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's trapped capital. You
Yes.
can't touch it, like you said, till you're 59 and a half or 65. I don't know what the rules are. I'm obviously not a tradfi investment guy, but I just don't think um, it's not smart anymore. It used to be smart. I think it's much smarter to, buy $100 of Bitcoin every week for the next 10 years.
When I think about what that's done for my life just in the last 5 years, you know, total game changer. So, multiply that by two, multiply that by three, four, five, and then you can see exponentially how that improves your life. It's good to talk through this type of stuff, man. Like the days of like going at it alone and just being like, all right, like it's just me and the guys on Twitter, these anons on Twitter. But to have like the podcast and be able to like talk through this type of stuff is really cathartic.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I guess we always have periods of doubt. When I was most doubtful, 2022, when we were at like 17,000, and I was still on my journey. I was only 2 years into it,
Yeah.
and not even, and I was in my second year. And yeah, I thought, did I make some mistakes? Because I bought a lot at 50, and I bought a lot at 40, and I bought a lot in the 30s, and I'm underwater on everything.
Yeah.
And fast forward to today, and my cost basis, I was looking at Strike, it's like 32,000, I think,
That's great.
which is my cost basis through that app. And I've used other things as well, but um, who's laughing now? I am. I'm laughing because it's so hilariously amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the best thing I've ever done. And I was looking at an attack on Iran, I think by Israel, and they deleted a very popular bank. I can't remember the name, but you could probably just search up the headline. And not only did they delete the accounts, but they deleted the data. And so the accounts are unrecoverable. You're not going to be able to, go to the bank and be like, here's my last statement. I had this much money in there. Or maybe that's all you can do. But how do you sort that out? You're keeping your money in, let's just say your brokerage account with one of the big guys, or your money's in Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase. Like, yes, it's your money and you have a claim to it, but it's also their money. And if they were to be hacked, how do you unwind that? A hardware wallet has never been hacked ever. And if you keep your money in Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about any kind of hacker if you're careful with your keys and your seed phrase and your password. And if you've you have self-custody done correctly, you can sleep knowing that no hacker is going to be able to take your funds. That is something I think we keep getting reminded of. A couple years ago was the Canadian truckers, right? And their bank accounts were deleted.
Yeah.
So many cases of people's getting deplatformed, their bank accounts getting deplatformed. You can't deplatform someone from Bitcoin. It wins because of that.
One reason of many why we're Bitcoiners, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's Iran's national bank. They blocked withdrawals. I think there was another one too, but there's the banks have closed their doors, refusing cash withdrawals. This is reportedly an ongoing fallout from an Israeli cyber attack targeting Iran's financial infrastructure earlier this week. Customers say they were turned away with no access to funds. The same thing happened during the fall of the Shah in 1979. One person was quoted, they won't give money, they've closed the doors, and they say they don't have any money. Poor people. I mean,
It's
quite
it's awful.
literally, it's awful, right? But like literally too. Now, it's now they're poor. If they had money, they're poor people, literally now. Dude, this is just such when this happens all the time. Like we hear about this stuff, and it's like that's why we're Bitcoiners. This is what like, oh, Bitcoin has no use case. Well, what about this? What about someone
Yeah.
that needs to flee Iran? Like these people are trying to get out of Iran, so they're trying to get their money because they're afraid they're going to get fucking nuked, right? And so you go to the
Right.
bank and you can't get your money. And like even if you did, now you got to travel with all that money. What are you going to get it and take that through an airport, on buses, whatever, where people are. You're a target, right? You're now a target. You've got to transport that. You've got to claim that. With Bitcoin, you don't need any of that nonsense, right? Hopefully this is a wake up call for a lot of folks that don't think that it could ever happen to them. Because listen, Iran is not it's not Iraq, it's not Iraq, it's not Afghanistan. Iran is very developed, beautiful, right? They've got a lot of money, they're huge. So like this could happen. They've got 92 million people living there, which Ted Cruz didn't even know. And so
Classic.
it could happen anywhere, man.
Yeah.
Anywhere in this world that we're living in, where everyone is subject to the threat of a cyber attack, especially from Mossad.
Yeah. And, not even cyber attacks. Like in the US, you could have a bank that fails.
Yeah,
Bank of America, it looks like they're in trouble, and without the BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program, most banks in the U.S., a lot of banks would have gone bankrupt over the last couple of years.
yeah.
They stayed alive because the Fed was pumping them with the liquidity with that overnight funds rate. And I think if you could flip a switch in the U.S., whatever the cause is, it could be something that happens, geopolitically, or it could be cyber attack or whatever. It could just be the economy turning over and everything sort of goes to shit. And if you have Bitcoin, there's nothing to worry about. You can continue to survive. And yeah, if you had to leave the US and go to some other place because we were attacked or we had a government that was instituted a nationwide draft and you have to now go to World War III with your sons, you can leave with all your money, no questions asked. No one can stop you. So the use cases for Bitcoin are there. They continue to multiply. What's frustrating is, um, people don't listen. They don't listen. They don't care. So I wish that were different. It's not going to matter to you until it hits home. If you're Iranian and you lost your bank account, you don't have any funds to purchase Bitcoin with. It's too late. Even if you wanted to get Bitcoin at that point, dude, your money got deleted. It's gone. Like no, it's not coming back. There's no way they're gonna untangle those wires. It's just not gonna happen. So yeah, I think you have to buy Bitcoin before it's too late.
Yeah, that's the ironic thing is that it requires a little bit of pain at least. You got to feel the pain of life or a drastic situation. Yeah, it's one of those things. But are you worried? I'm pretty worried about World War III. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to play out over 3 or 6 months. I don't think that we're going to see a quick resolution to this. I think with Trump signaling that he's willing to get involved at some level, that we're entering a new phase. I don't think there's any way that we can escape it for lots of reasons that we probably don't need to talk about. But I think that we're going to get dragged into it. I don't know the extent of it, but I think we also see a lot of players, Russia, China, us, all kind of on the sidelines. Like we haven't gotten into the fight yet, but that feels like it's going to happen. You know, I don't want to see that. Obviously, I want peace, but I just don't think I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. So, if let's say hypothetically some of Iran's nuclear, or I mean, their oil refineries get destroyed, or Iran closes a Strait of Hormuz and you see oil go to, doubles in price or whatever.
300 a barrel.
I think $7 gas would be extremely painful here in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about inflation. Like that would be inflation because of supply and demand, but I think that would hit really, really hard. And I think you'd see a lot of businesses shutting down because we have this waterfall effect. Energy prices staying low keeps everything moving. And if we were to double the cost of, what you pay at the pump, you know, we're, we're in trouble.
Oil's in everything. I mean, it's literally used for like a lot
Yeah.
of things. But yeah, I think Trump already went too far, obviously, right? I don't think there's now he's already at the whim of what the neocons are going to do, right? And he's already involved these people. And so it's either going to be a legitimate attack or like some false flag, whatever. But the point is that he's relinquished any control of the
Yeah.
situation, which is what scares me, right? The way to stay out of this was to do the opposite of what Trump was doing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've got something on him or if he really is in the Epstein files or what it is, but it's really disappointing. And even my mom who's been MAGA for like hardcore MAGA for like a long time, uh, she's like, this is unacceptable. Like if this ends up happening, then that ruins Trump's entire legacy. And if she's saying that, most of a lot of his base, is saying the same.
Yeah.
You've got these idiots, Zionists that are, all for it, but they can fuck off.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I mean, goodness, I don't really, we're in a precarious situation. Definitely. It could escalate. It could happen quickly. Maybe it'd be a good buying opportunity for Bitcoin if something like this happens. I just don't know how we avoid it. How do you de-escalate? Somebody's got to win,
Did someone
and I
say
guarantee
buying opportunity?
I did. It's not going to be Iran that wins, though. I'll tell you that, or at least it won't be their religious leaders. Those guys are
No,
not going to.
no, they're
So,
not going to win.
you know, what do you want to do? You want to stack some Bitcoin?
Yeah, let's stack.
All
I've
right,
got
I'm going
the
to buy $21 at 104,346.
oh, whoops.
All right, it's
All right,
going
I got it.
through.
I'm at 104.5,
All right,
21-cent fee.
got it. Yeah, it's good.
Done.
I feel better already.
Yeah. Always feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like you're doing something. You're taking money out of the fiat system and you're putting it into Bitcoin where it could stay forever if you have the balls to hold it,
Amen, brother.
and
I'm looking forward to just like a big come up at some point in the next 5 to 10 years.
what does that mean?
Well, just a lot more money.
You mean in Bitcoin?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
ready for that.
It's going to happen whether people like it or not. There just isn't enough to go around, I mean, I saw a post, there are like 157 public companies that have bought Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing that really kind of frustrates me is you see plebs, who are super excited about Metaplanet and
Yeah.
Similar and MicroStrategy, and it's just like, dude, unless you have a full Bitcoin and more, you probably should not be buying that. It's
It's such a
paper.
shit coiner way of operating.
Yeah, I
Your
posted
shit coin.
something. Yeah, you get so much hate too. Like if you make fun of Sailor, just tease them a little bit. You get all these people coming out of the woodwork. Oh, he's doing exactly what Bitcoiners want. It's like, dude, he might. You're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, you're
Your
not.
job is to buy Bitcoin. Your job is to not buy the shares of the guy whose company who's buying Bitcoin, you
Yeah, he's
idiot.
the
Like,
one buying the Bitcoin. You're the one not buying the Bitcoin.
right.
He's selling you.
It's like, cheering on Brad Pitt for winning the girl. Like, dude, you should be going to
Yeah.
get the girl. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, you don't root for someone else to have a great life. You
No.
make your own great life.
Yeah.
I mean, oh goodness, it's nonstop entertainment. It's just like it's just low key. Like people forget the plot. Like we're trying to defund the state here. We
Yeah,
want unspeakable
this
money.
new class and the younger class, the new like Gen Z class, like can be pretty insufferable.
Yeah, they were, I think, groomed to believe Bitcoin is old fashioned or not new tech or not cool. And it's sad, but I think they're just going to learn the hard way. I
Oh,
mean, there
exactly.
is no altcoin season.
No, no, there's not.
And these Bitcoin treasury companies, yes, they might go up in value, but you're chasing fiat gains.
Yep.
And I had somebody post like, "Oh, well, I'm buying those, so when they go up, I can sell them and buy more Bitcoin." It's like, dude, just buy the Bitcoin.
Just
Do
buy
not be another chapter in this never-ending book of shitcoining.
buy the thing that everyone's trying to buy. You even got like Charles Hoskins, whatever, Hoskinson's been like, oh, we're doing a Bitcoin thing now. We're gonna buy a bunch of Bitcoin treasury for Cardano. It's like you're an idiot. Like anyone, such a scammer idiot. And they're all grifters, but it's like it does tell you, it's like even the scammer grifters are trying to get more Bitcoin. They're trying to
Yeah,
sell you their shitcoin so they can get more Bitcoin.
yeah, that's what even Ethereum, in order to be part of the Ethereum ICO, you had to purchase those shares in
Yep.
Bitcoin. They
Hmm.
wanted your Bitcoin. They were selling you
That's
Ethereum
it.
paper and they wanted your Bitcoin. It's like,
Yeah.
wake up.
Yeah.
Goodness.
All right, man. Should we call it there?
Yeah, man, I feel bad. I hope you recover quickly.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. I just can't wait to be healthy again. We'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Hey, anyone that's watching, if you like this hat, go to birdflip.com. Is it birdflip.com?
Shop
Bird,
shop bird flip.
shopbirdflip.com.
This is
And
my new tank.
nice. And pick up the hat. This is my favorite, mempool. So check it out.
Yeah, that looks good, man. That was a good choice.
I know, man. I'm stoked on it. Thank you for the gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, brother.
Hey, have a good one.
All right, you too. We'll see you.
See ya.